What's going on, my brothers and sisters? So I just want to kind of share a quick word with y'all, kind of about what what God has put in my heart to share. So I've been kind of down a little bit, I guess, and I've been, you know, seeking after God, been praying and seeking after the Holy Spirit, and I'm just feeling kind of far away in the sense that I feel like when I first got saved, like I was on fire, and I think this happens with all Christians to a degree. Like you first get saved, and there's that fire, that passion, that drive in you. Then as time goes on, we still sin. We sin less, but with the cares of life, and our own sins that we still deal with in our life can kind of push us away from the Spirit a little bit. But then we just make that effort to kind of stay close or try to get back close. But it may not be as strong as when you first got saved, but you push through and you persevere. So I guess I've been just kind of feeling farther away, and I've just been asking God to reveal His Spirit to me, to put that fresh fire back in me, to prick my heart. Let me be convicted. Let me have that same conviction and sorrow over my sin and over the sin of others, just in sin in general, such that because sin separates us from God. And I think sometimes we get a complacency when it comes to some things. If we don't allow the Spirit to guide us, if we don't allow the Spirit to continually work in us, if we resist the Spirit, then the Spirit will kind of genuinely, that influence will kind of genuinely wane, and we'll find ourselves at a point where we're like, oh, what's going on? We feel like we're on E spiritually. So we don't want to get to that point. Trust me, you do not want to get to that point. So it's good to keep in the Word and keep striving and obeying the Spirit as you feel Him lead you to. So that's just one thing I wanted to kind of say. And then there's this other thing so I ride a motorcycle, and when I ride, I have these foot pegs I put my feet on, one on the left side, one on the right side, to keep me up, basically, so I don't have to wave my feet around or try to hug the bike, so I have something to rest my feet on. And recently, I didn't necessarily break. One of my pegs, the peg on the right side, broke. There's a big rainstorm a few days ago, and the bike fell over on the right side, and the peg broke. And I picked the bike. Well, I came back and I discovered, and I'm like, man, that sucks, because if I don't have that peg, I don't have anything to rest my right foot on while I'm riding. So I'm gonna have to either drag my foot across the ground or just hold it up literally and just hug it against the bike, which it's like it's nothing. I'm not resting on anything. So it's like I'm just in this position, this weird position, and it's uncomfortable. I don't have any footing. I don't have a foundation. So that kind of made me think, and I think the Lord put this in my heart, like, your left side has a foundation. The side on the left has a solid foundation. It's able to allow you to do your work effectively. You don't have to worry about it. It's there. It's planted. It doesn't move. It's solid. But then the right side, it doesn't have anything to sit on, and it just has no foundation. There's no bearing. There's nothing to. It's going to make your whole ride uncomfortable. Like it's not. It's just. It's whack. So it's like, and that reminded me of the parable of the house on the sand versus the house on the rock. The house on the rock, being the left peg, which is there, has a foundation, and the wind came and blew upon it, and then the waves came and beat upon the house, but the house still stood because it was built on the rock. There was a foundation to it. But the right foot peg is the house on the sand. There's no foundation. There's nothing there to support my foot. So it's going to be a really uncomfortable ride if you just let it if you don't fix it, right? So and people who don't ride, I mean, my riders probably know what I'm talking about. I guess if you don't ride, you wouldn't necessarily get the full picture of what I'm saying, but it just made me think, and it's like, oh wow, I think the Lord put that in my mind to share it with somebody, I guess. But yeah, if you gotta make sure that you have your foundation, that your foundation is Christ and not some other thing, and that you are, through the power of the Spirit, dying to yourself every day obeying the Spirit as He leads you every single day. Do not resist the Spirit. Do not. You do not want to be in the point where you're like, what's this? I don't recognize Him anymore. That you don't want to be in that point where like, oh my gosh, what's going on? I don't feel, because it's a slippery slope. It's a gradual slide. It's not like all of it. It's not like one day you're hot on fire, then one day, the next day you're cold. It's a gradual slide. If you neglect the Spirit, then you will eventually find yourself in a position where you're kind of like spiritually on E. Your gas tank's on E. So don't get to that point. Make sure your foundation is on Christ, solid foundation, so you're not dangling your feet, so you're not tucked up in an uncomfortable position, so your rides are not uncomfortable and unpleasurable, so to speak. But yeah, and yeah, just some I wanted to share.